I'm gonna go live.
Let's do it.
All right, we're live. We're gonna skip the whole intro. I'm gonna go ahead and do that later.
Let's do it.
So we have Daniel Perry on the podcast. Welcome, Daniel Perry. How's it going?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Live from my dining room.
From your old dining room, right?
Yeah, my old dining room.
When are they gonna be done with your house?
Well, we're moving in with my mother-in-law for a couple of months. She lives on the lake though, so it's not like she has a nice.
It's not even a punishment. You're just
exactly. I'm like, oh no, we have to go to a lake. It is like another 20 minutes each way for work, but living at the lake for a couple months, it'll be okay.
Wait, it's 20 minutes. 20 minutes is your commute?
No,
total?
It'll be 20 minutes added on to my 35 to 40 minute commute. So it'll be long.
An hour 15 maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, at least you get to go to a lake afterwards.
Yeah.
After work.
Okay. She has a pool too, so yeah.
Oh, that's nice. And it's Huntsville. What city is it?
She lives on Lay Lake, which is right like they had the Bassmaster Elite Series this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On Lay Lake, and they had it at Beeswax, and she's the closest house to that launch. So she, like, during the weigh-in, and we went to the weigh-in, we just walked over there. Mm-hmm. Like, you can see her house in the weigh-in.
Oh, nice. Is that the one where Matty Wong got third place?
Did he? Well, I know Brandon Polinick won behind the bridge, which is 300 yards away from the weigh-in.
Did he win, or did he finish second?
Oh, yeah, he got second. That's right.
By 2 ounces, right?
Yeah, he got second to Will Davis, who is from there, but Brandon Polinick got second behind the bridge, the same place Kevin Van Dam won the Classic in 2009. Because we were sitting on her dock, like talking to, because almost all the top 10 from that Bassmaster Classic were all fishing in that creek. So it's just, they were just doing a milk run, a rotation of all these spots. And we would just talk to them as they came through. It was a lot of fun, actually.
Cool. Yeah. Sweet.
Right so life is good. I'm not complaining.
Oh yeah, man.
Is
it great fishery? You're at her house right now?
No, I'm still at my house. Yeah.
You're at the old house right now, but then you're gonna go to her house.
Yeah, for a couple months.
Is there good fishing right behind her house?
No, Lay Lake's awful. It's really the Coosa River, and right now it's in like a really bad, the worst I've ever seen it. So it's in a real bad downturn right now. So
spotted bass fishery, right?
Both largemouth and spot.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Brandon Polinick was sticking big largemouth on a drop shot there, right?
Yeah.
With his like $800 or $900 Exige Daiwa spinning reel.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? $800 or $900 spinning reel.
I've held them. They are some kind of light. I mean,
really? You held a $900 reel?
Yeah, there's the shop I'm with, Bucks Island. They sell Daiwa. That's actually the only brand they sell now. And they used to sell Lose too, but they just quit carrying them. And I felt it. There is absolutely nothing to it. But it's, I throw Tatulas, the new Tatulas, and is there a better reel out there? Sure. Is it? But it's like once you get to that point, it's all marginal gains past that, It's like once you hit that plateau of Tatula spinning reels, everything else past that is just butter,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about, before we went live, we were going to talk about Huntsville versus...
Yeah.
Let's do Huntsville versus Austin.
Okay.
Texas.
What?
Huntsville, Alabama, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Versus Austin, or what city were you living in when you were stationed out in Texas?
I was in both San Antonio for tech school and basic training, and then I was in Abilene, which is 2 hours west of Dallas. I was there for 2 years and 8 months.
All right, you tell me. What was the better city that you lived in Texas?
Oh well, neither one of them. They both. Yeah, I
Oh,
did. I spent my 21st birthday in Austin, and Austin
okay.
is phenomenal. I had a friend that got out and went down, moved down there, and
Hmm.
Austin, and that was in 2000. Holy crap! How old am I? Like 2000.
Hmm.
So in 2000, it was a great time, but in the last 23 years, it's absolutely blown up. And
Yeah.
Huntsville was just ranked the number one place to live in the country. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
yeah, I mean, it's not,
It's hard to beat.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's unbelievably beautiful up there. You have all of North Alabama, which is
Hmm.
just hilly and beautiful. You can go, e- everything is so centrally located. Chattanooga is only an hour away.
Hmm.
Um, you've got Redstone Arsenal, so there's NASA. I mean, it's Rocket City. It's where they designed the rockets and where a lot of the testing was from whenever we first went to the moon with the
Hmm.
Gemini missions. So I mean, it's called Rocket City. The name of their baseball team is Rocket City Trash Pandas. I mean, it's uh, KBF, the headquarter, Chad Hoover, and I mean, not that that's if that's what you're into, KBF and Chad Hoover. He's headquartered out of Huntsville now.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Do
it's
you do you fish? Do you fish
the Tennessee
KBF?
River is there.
Do you fish
Uh,
KBF still?
no, I don't. No,
What's your?
I don't have anything against
Oh,
KBF.
nothing.
I just I usually have enough. The last two this year, I committed to only fishing local, and the last 2 years, I've been so ate up with. I would fish a few national events, but
Hmm.
I was also fishing KFL Kayak Fishing League,
Hmm.
and I was doing that so much that was kind of my main focus. So next year, I'm going to go back out and do national stuff again.
It's nice sticking to local stuff.
Yeah.
It's more relaxing. It's less of a headache. You're on them locally more often than not,
Yeah.
right?
Well, my goal is because I was always away all the time, was to
Yeah.
fish Coleman Kayak Anglers, their whole trail, which is halfway between Birmingham uh, and Huntsville.
Mhm.
North Alabama also has one of the best clubs in the country, North Alabama Kayak Anglers, which usually has 80, 90, 100 people in each tournament. So, like, one of the absolute premier clubs in the entire country is in North Alabama. And then Coleman Kayak Anglers, they have a bunch of little lakes, and that's a really fun trail to fish. And then
Mhm.
Iron City Kayak Anglers, I really wanted to fish at this year, which is my local club that I help run. And then there was a new trail called Alabama Kayak Anglers Tour, and that was kind of a top up high roller event on top of state events all over the state. So one with Iron City, one with Coleman, one with North Alabama. The next one is Georgia Kayak Anglers because it's right on the border of Georgia and Alabama. It's a Chattahoochee. It's next weekend. It's the final tournament of the year, so it's right on the border of Alabama, and it's if you've ever heard of Lake Seminole, it's just
Mhm.
down from Lake Seminole. It's
So, s-
the
so you
river and the
guys,
lake. Yeah,
so you guys never run out of things to do over in Alabama in terms of fishing,
no, and then you
kayak
also
fishing.
no, and then also there you have in the same place you have TVKA, which is Steve Owens and Ryan Lambert's club.
Mhm.
Daniel Davis. There's a lot of other people that help run that, and they're out of Chattanooga, but they also run events in Alabama and Gunnersville. So in
Mhm.
Huntsville, you're only like 30 to 40 minutes away from Gunnersville.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's
but
not
you have
bad at
all the
all.
lakes. You have Smith Lake, which is ultra 200 feet and clear, all spots. Um,
Mhm.
they said somebody's put herring in there, so I guess now it's going to be a herring lake.
Wait,
But
didn't you say you went to school with Dustin Connell
I
or something like
fished.
that?
I was at Montevallo, best team in the country.
Mhm.
Right now, they're three-time three-peat national champions. I was a president of the University of Montevallo team the same time that Matt Lee, Jordan Lee, Dustin Connell. I was
Mhm.
fishing against all those guys.
Oh, so they were all in Alabama and in like neighboring universities.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
We were
Damn.
usually Auburn at that time. Auburn was ranked above us, but we were above Alabama.
Are you thinking bass boat scene at all?
Am I what?
Are you thinking purchasing a bass boat?
No, I came from a bass boat
And
in
you don't want
20.
to you don't
No,
want to do it again?
in 2015, I went back to school with the GI Bill, and the last tournament in my career, while I was college career, while I was getting my MBA, I had on Pickwick fishing a Cabela's Boat US National Championship. Me and my partner, I was at a 18-foot Ranger and hit something in the channel in over 20 feet of water, and it spun us out. It sheared. It had to have almost hit the bottom of the boat, but it sheared everything, like half of the motor off. It the motor came back and destroyed the fiberglass in the back of the boat, and it spun us out 900 degrees and threw out my partner. He skipped across the water like a rock because we were
Damn.
going 60 whenever it happened.
Yeah.
And and yeah, that was my last tournament in college. But he got in the boat with LSU and went and weighed in our 22 pounds. So I think we ended up,
After that?
yeah,
After
after
you
that,
skipped out like a rock?
yeah. Well, he's a tough country guy, man. It just country strong, I guess. And
It was probably in his blood. He was probably like, "Oh, that's exactly what I needed to go
yeah,
in the weigh-ins."
shout out to Brandon. But yeah,
Yeah.
he went. It's messed up because I had to stay with the boat to get towed in, and he went and weighed him in himself, and he was like holding up
Yeah.
4 fish, like he caught this
Damn.
mega bag by himself, and I got it. Yeah.
Who did catch the bag?
Uh, it was pretty well split.
It was 2-3. It was
Uh,
like you caught 3 or you caught 1 or 2 or 3. How many
I
did you
don't remember. It
catch?
was probably 3-2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you caught 3.
No, I don't know. I honestly
I
don't
don't
remember.
remember.
No, we caught a lot of fish that day. Pickwick in the summer, it was like Pickwick at the end of May. The fish are really
Oh.
stupid. Like right whenever they first leave post spawn and they get out deep, like
Yeah.
it's just magic on Pickwick for like 2 weeks. It's just every fish you want to catch. 50.
That almost seems like how
Yeah,
I want the fish to cooperate right now. Like post spawn is super fun because you're
yeah,
just dropping on them on a drop shot and
yeah.
think like automatic almost.
But
Kind of
no,
miss those times.
I'm so happy in a kayak. I'm never going back to a bass boat.
Oh yeah, and then your wife must be happy because it's safer, right?
Yeah, it's
Shoot.
safer and a whole lot cheaper too.
Yeah.
Actually, she said after I wrecked the boat, um, we were living not far from here, in
Hmm.
our house, and she said, "Okay, the boat was wrecked. They ended up fixing it, and I sold it." And she said, "Okay, I'll tell you what. If you quit smoking, like cigarettes, not smoking, but if you quit smoking." We'll get a new bass boat. We'll take some of the money from the smoke and we'll get a new bass boat.
Yeah.
Instead of getting a bass boat, I got a kid.
Oh wow.
And that's whenever I got a kayak, and then never turned back since.
Damn.
Yeah.
What was your first kayak again?
It just an Ascend, a cheap one, in
Oh, okay.
2015. So been doing this 8 years now. And
Yeah.
then I was one of I had that for I guess 2 years, and then I had one of the very first pre-ordered SS 127s.
Yeah.
Like I bought it from ACK and had it, now defunct Austin Canoe and Kayak. You're talking about Austin, but I had it shipped here and went and picked it up from a place because nobody around here were bona fide dealers, and
Hmm.
yeah, so
Have
had
they
that.
reached out? Has Bonafide expanded out to your area yet?
Yeah,
Or
there's a
they're pretty well
guy.
known or what?
Yeah, there's a guy in Centerville. He sells. Hey, there's a guy who
Okay.
sells like outbuildings, like metal sheds and stuff, and kayaks.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Oh really?
yeah. Out now, I mean, I'm talking like out in the middle of nowhere. He has like, the whole Big Adventures native bona fide. Crescents too. He has crescents too. He sells. You can go get a shed and you can go get a kayak with that guy.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
out in Centerville, which is actually the same town that Matt Herring lives in a Bass Elite Pro. If you follow the elites,
Is there a big enough market out there for a kayak dealer? I mean,
there's
obviously he carries them, right?
yeah, there's one right here where there's a bunch.
Oh, there's a
My
bunch.
shop's an hour away. There's a couple other ones. There's one right here in my, like 10 minutes away from me.
Mhm.
But this guy, he's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. But he sells kayaks. All Star Products, I think, is his name.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. We're okay. So how I originally brought you on is you're
Oh,
telling me like I think you guys are absolutely wrong about that kayak that you're talking about with Matthew Brandon after ICAST. Which kayak were you talking about?
the Old Town EPDL,
Yeah.
the big water EPDL.
You tell me why. Well, actually, Matthew Brandon, which one did he pick? Did he pick the native or he picked the Old Town, didn't he?
I think he picked the native.
I think he picked the Old Town.
I don't know.
I
I might have turned it
think.
off after I'm so angry. No,
No, he actually
I
picked
don't remember.
he picked the Old Town.
Yeah, as the most innovative because I mean it's out of any of the kayaks at ICAST this year, it was obviously the most innovative,
Yeah.
except for that
But
pizza cutter deal, whatever that was.
what pizza cover?
That round kayak boat thing.
I
I don't
don't
know.
remember.
Yeah, some round thing.
Oh, it's like a round boat. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And it spins around. Oh
yeah.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know.
So yeah, we were talking. Okay, so we scored it as the most innovative, but we weren't excited
Yeah,
about the new kayaks. Now, when you saw it, were you excited about this Old Town EPDL kayak?
I personally am, and I'll say this: like my shop does not sell Old Town, so hey, it's not like I have any skin in the game. I have owned 3 Old Towns. I've had the Sportsman 120 PDL. My old shop had Old Town, so I was with them for a couple of years. They had Old Town, some like Feel Free and Hobie.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Old Towns. First, I had a 120 PDL, and then I had a Predator, and then I had a Big Water 132, which is a Predator with like a different floor mat. The same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
And my only problem with that kayak, I truly did love that kayak. And if I wasn't with, let me say this separate from the shop I'm with. If there was anybody who's just like going to be like, let's say you were you were going to be a casual kayak angler, you were going to fish a tournament every now and then, and that was your thing, I would 100% tell people to get an Old Town. I just
A
would. But
$6,000 Old Town PDL.
just a regular PDL because they're so durable, so reliable. The cheaps are the parts are
But
inexpensive,
that's besides the point.
inexpensive,
We're talking
accessible.
about the EPDL here. We're
Yeah,
not talking about I
yeah.
think the Old Town Kayak PDL 120 is a great boat. I think honestly it's probably one of the greatest boats pedal drives there are, along with the Big Water. I never really tried the Big Water myself
Yeah.
or the Predator, but I heard great things about it. But the EPDL specifically, why are you excited about that one? We already know that the Old Town 120 is good.
Yeah. Well, the Big Water, the 132, like whenever y'all were talking about it, like because y'all hadn't been in it, you weren't sure about the offshore Big Water part of it. And I can say out of any kayak I've ever had, that was the most seaworthy boat I've ever had. Zero absolute watertight. Zero water in it at any time. No water intrusion into
Oh,
the
yeah.
hull. I mean, it is absolutely as dry as a kayak can be.
What about stability?
Yeah, but I am not a light guy. I'm a heavy set guy. You it's very specific for how you want to fish, I think. So it's very fast.
Mhm.
It's I had zero problems with stability, but I don't stand up a whole lot. I mean, I'll
Mhm.
pitch and flip and punch and things like that, but
Mhm.
most of the time I'm sitting down and I don't know, it's just how I prefer to fish, but
Mhm.
it's such a fast boat. I don't mind giving up stability because there was never a time where I felt unstable. I mean, it felt at least as stable, if not more stable than my Hobie, even though it's
Oh, really?
narrower.
Yeah.
So it's so fast. But the things I didn't like about it were you couldn't put a motor on the back.
Mhm.
The only way to do it is, and you can YouTube it. Jake Harshman put some videos. His old Predator. He went to Innovative Sportsman and they made a motor mount. But then you have to like take off the motor and then you have to put on this separate, like a fin,
Mhm.
like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a rudder. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. On the motor, right?
Well, no, you like take off the motor and you can add on the rudder. Like you can go back and forth if you
Mm.
didn't want to have a motor. But the rigging of it was so complicated to me that I
Mhm.
didn't want to mess with it. It just, to me, it wasn't a very good solution. And the other thing I didn't like about that kayak was the tank well in the back was pretty small. Like Yak Gadget has two crates. They have the regular crate and then they have the XU.
Yeah, I know that tank well is super small. You can't really fit anything back there. It's like a 13 by 16 black pack you could fit, right?
Yeah, it
And
wasn't
that's
that
it.
big. But
Yeah.
so the two problems that I thought that they had with that kayak, I
Mhm.
loved the kayak. Those were the two issues. I couldn't put a motor on it, and I couldn't put a big crate in the back. They solved both of those problems. They made
Mhm.
the tank well a whole lot bigger.
Mhm.
Like now you can put a big crate back there
Mhm.
and it has a motor. Like the way I fish, I understand that the way you fish a lot of open water. And
Mhm.
I think kayaks are very specific. They're the same as cars. Like, you can't have a Ferrari can't carry a bunch of stuff and a minivan can't be fast. Yeah, like a kayak, you can't engineer everything into it. I don't mind giving up a little bit of stability to be able to paddle really well because I do a lot of. Sometimes I go back in the creeks and I go as far back as a kayak can go.
Is this a tournament kayak,
Oh yeah,
or is this a casual
no,
kayaker's kayak?
oh no, I meant the casual part for just a regular PDL.
Oh, okay. So this is a tournament kayak you're arguing.
Oh, I absolutely think so.
And you're saying this kayak is probably more stable or more big water worthy than a Hobie PA-14.
I would say yes for me.
Wow. That's a big statement to make.
Well,
Shoot.
I it,
Being
it
a Hobie owner.
yeah, yeah. Oh, well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's look, they're both great kayaks. I mean, if they're both, it's not. I think the difference between the two is preference. I wouldn't own a 360 because I've been in all the forums, and I've been so worried about my drive breaking. I personally wouldn't own a 360, and
Yeah.
that's not to say that you can't do it. People
Yeah.
don't have them, and they don't break. And I know Hobie's corrected a lot of the problems, so I'm not putting down Hobie. I've won a ton of tournaments in my kayak. I loved my Hobie, but I think the EPDL is equally as good a kayak. And I think price holds a lot of people are thinking price, but
Yeah.
whenever you take out, like if you had my Hobie is what 4,500. I have a 180 PA-14 camo.
Mhm.
So what was that 4,500 something like that?
Mhm.
So
45, 48.
4,500,
Yeah, yeah.
and then you're going to add 800. Let's say you have an $800 battery and an $800 Newport. Let's say you
Yeah.
go that route. That's
1600. Yeah.
yeah, 1,600 plus 4,500, and you're way over 6,000.
You're probably like same price, a little bit over 6 grand.
Yeah, a little bit over 6 grand.
A little bit over. So pretty close in price.
Yeah,
$100 you'll get the Hobie PA-14 with a stern mount.
yeah,
And then you will get 6 grand for the EPDL.
yeah. But
Now,
but
which
also there you're going to save money on the APDL because it's already rigged. Like you don't. There's no the setup. Like it's already done.
Which one's faster?
Oh, there's no. Well, it depends on what motor you have. If you have the
NK 180,
huh?
NK 180 on your Hobie PA 14. You have that, right? The
Yeah,
NK
I have
180
that. I go 5 miles an hour
at a
and
full throttle,
full throttle. I
five
hit.
miles an hour.
I can on a good day. I can hit 5 exactly.
Oh,
And
okay.
and then they said that I know Ryan Lilly, the guy who runs the kayak division of Old Town.
Mhm.
He he said that's going to be 5 miles. What's up, Pooh? He said it's
Who's in
going to be a
chat?
5 miles per hour on that EPDL. So they're equal. But the difference is also you can pedal, you can add more.
Assistance or
Yeah.
add more power to it.
I don't know how much because
It's
I
probably,
haven't.
yeah, you're probably
Yeah.
pushing a lot though.
Yeah. So let's say
Yeah.
for a short distance, I've literally, there's been one time on Lake Eufaula for a Hobie when I actually competed to a spot with someone, two other people. And then we
Mhm.
ended up not going to the same spot, but I wanted to blow their, and one of them was in a Hobie and I was in Old Town and I blew his doors off.
Yeah.
So there you go. But the,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
So speed does matter a little bit, or
yeah,
no,
no,
it doesn't in your area.
it it does. I mean, it does for everybody because
Yeah.
you want to go from one place to another and you want to be efficient with your time as much as you can. I just don't mind giving up. I find that I'm the best angler whenever I have 9 rods or less, and I'm as efficient and as quick, and I'm making quicker decisions rather than
Speed and
yeah, like a little bit. Whenever I'm on the speed side of things, whenever I'm a little bit more simple, I'm a little bit more speedy, and I'm making decisions on the fly, just getting through my decision making as quickly as possible. That's whenever I'm the most successful.
now tell me this: are you on foot control with your NK, or are
No,
you?
no,
Oh,
I'm
you just get it from A to B and that's it.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Every now and then, because I just use a rudder, I don't have foot control.
Yeah.
I just use the regular Hobie
Yeah. Yeah.
rudder for my
Yeah.
motor. I'll run every now and then. I'll run it going down a bank. I'll run it real low, like on
Mhm.
1 mile an hour. I'll use it like just paralleling a bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most of the time, it's just spot to spot.
And you use your pedal drive then.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it really depends on. I understand for you, for people on Great Lakes, there's going to be a lot of people where you want spot lock. Like my buddy Chuck, he has spot lock, and he's a big. I have live scope, but he's big live scope bow mount. That's his preferred method of fishing, offshore things like that. And I'm kind of a little bit. I'm more in between, I guess. So
Yeah.
I'll go everything from being out, off a fishing a ledge to being absolutely as far back as a kayak can go. So I
Yeah.
need something that's going to be super durable. So for me, not durable, but versatile. So for me, a bow mount doesn't work for me. And that's too because of where I live, because the fisheries are so different. Smith Lake, that's super clear, to Lay Lake, that's really grassy. Gunnersville, super grassy. Um,
Wait. So why wouldn't you want the bow mount?
I just, you know, it,
Because you come from a bass boat, so
yeah,
you know
yeah.
how to have a trolling motor and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
for sure. I
So I'm
think one
wondering.
thing, have you had problems with your remote?
Um, I had one problem where the steering went out, but I have a second hand trolling motor from one of the sponsored motor guide guys over in
Oh, yeah,
SoCal. So that thing's done. Like it's been through so many years.
yeah,
It's done. It's been through like probably 3 or 4 full seasons, and I need to go send it in to the trolling motor doctor to replace the whole motor. So
yeah,
like yeah, I mean there's an issue with it, but I think it's a pretty reliable motor with the remote control as
yeah,
long as it's you got it for like 2 years or something like that, and you maintained it in that
I'll
time.
I'll say this: everything I have on my kayak, I have it
Yeah.
set up for durability because I'm pretty hard on my stuff. So I want redundant systems. That's why I
Mhm.
want the motor, but I have pedals, but I can also paddle. Like for me, that's why I don't have foot controlled steering because I want it to be the, I don't want the lines back there that can break or get hung up or have
Mhm.
issues. My kayak, the first thing I think about on my kayak is durability and things not breaking.
Mhm.
Like, and that would be a knock against Hobie, where I think maybe for me, why Old Town in my head is great because they are so durable. I mean, I have absolutely ran that PDL on Lake Seminole. I mean, I just Mack trucked it right into
Mhm.
stumps as absolutely as hard as you could. I've broken probably 2 props, but they're only $5. So so yeah, I do really like that about Old Town and Hobie, although I mean in a lot of categories it's better than the Old Town. It is much more
I think
less durable. Let's just say that.
I mean, I think it's a great boat. You got a point. It's a great boat,
Yeah.
but the $6,000 price tag on it, I thought it was kind of ridiculous.
But I'm spending that much
Six
anyways.
grand. Yeah, but still, I feel like there should be more bargain kayaks
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
you know.
I agree.
I feel like we shouldn't keep on going high. Like that's expensive, man. Six
Oh yeah.
grand for a kayak. And
And
I think a big part of our community is actually building up our kayak.
yeah.
Like showing off like a full walkthrough of how you customized your kayak, so on and so on, right?
I
No?
well, I mean, if you bought a bass boat, it's already rigged up.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I see like the kayak field is so unique because we get to like hear about how this guy rigged it up versus how this guy rigged it up. You
Yeah.
know, that's kind of unique versus like bass boat comes all like rigged up already, you know, or someone else did it, blah blah. Or it comes with the motor already, kind of like with the boat and etc.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
I really do, but dude, I have whenever I put that NK 180, anybody that has one and you put it on the back of your kayak, it makes
yeah.
you want to go crazy because it's got this little sleeve inside of this stupid thing. If you have a Newport, you know what I'm saying. It's got like this collar inside of it that is an absolute bitch to put on every time you do the dang thing, and I hate it. The motor is awesome. I'm not putting that down. Ramel, don't get mad at me. It's a great motor once it's on, but I don't like putting it onto my kayak. Whoever designed that should be fired. So
Is the Torpedo the same way?
no, I don't know. I've never had one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's similar way.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same mount, but
Pooh Pooh said in the chats, he says it's not that bad.
dude, I even lost mine. Like it came out, and now I have like these little wing nut things. I had to go to Lowe's and rig up something to make it work. I just, but to have a fully integrated motor and not
That's
lose,
designed for it.
yeah, not lose
Yeah.
any space. That's super simple. It comes out and plugs in. Boom, you're done. The cables are already run. I kind of, man, as long as it's done right and the cables are the right gauge and everything else, I don't have a problem. I mean, me and you were Z Pro on a Z Pro team.
Yeah.
To me, in my mind, I would throw a graph on there. I would put a second 36-volt battery on it so I would never run out of power. I'd run that dude 5 miles an hour down the lake and I'd win tournaments. I mean, you know, I mean, it sounds
Damn.
like a great idea to me.
It sounds like you're gonna make the switch.
No, I love my kayak.
Oh, so you're
Here,
never gonna make the switch? You're not gonna go to EPDL?
I don't know. Maybe one day. My shop doesn't sell them. So it's not that I think it's better. It's that I think it is what I have is perfectly lined out. I love my Hobie exactly how it is. But I think like KBN not too long ago, they had the dueling which brands are better.
Mhm,
Jackson, all these head-to-head matches, and I think
mhm.
Hobie ended up being the best. I don't know, Hobie or Old Town. They're the ones that made it to the end. And my comment, and AJ McWhorter did not like this answer, was that Hobie had a better flagship, but that Old Town has a better lineup. Like I thought the Hobie PA14 is the best kayak on the market, and the lineup of Old Town, it's more like Hobie doesn't sell a kayak that I can drag over shoals like a throw and go kayak, except for a Lynx.
Mm,
But the Lynx is not durable enough to do that where I live. I have to
mm.
have both a big tournament kayak and a creek kayak because some tournaments are,
What is the creek kayak for Old Town?
well, just the whatever the 10-foot one is.
Oh, the 106
Yeah, the
without a
106.
pedal drive, without a pedal.
Yeah, just the regular one.
Just a regular 106
But
paddle.
they have other ones too. But Hobie doesn't have
It
a
doesn't cover ground for everything.
yeah, that's
I
it.
see.
It's but I thought the PA14 was the best kayak on the market. But that Old Town had a
Mm.
bigger lineup that fit everyone. Now that I just think that the EPDL is now even in my mind. I'm not saying it's better than the Pro Angler. I'm saying that they both, every kayak, one has better storage, one has better, like the Hobie. I love the integrated rod storage, horizontal rod storage. The EPDL doesn't
You
have
know what
that.
I want to see?
What?
I want to see a kayak with a brushless motor with spot lock. That's it.
And
Something
it,
minimal, something light enough with spot lock that's not as robust like the Motor Guide XI3.
I would go back and listen to Ryan Lilly at iCast, and he had on, it was Alex Figuera,
Yeah,
you know, the the guy down in Florida. He
yeah.
had it was on his page, Ryan Lilly, and he was talking about that, and he pretty much said that they're going to put EPDL in their whole lineup, and that next will be brushless motors
On the Old Town.
on Old Town, Joe.
Oh wow, that's a
So
big
that like this is the
announcement.
first kayak, and he said this kayak is more expensive than some of the costs. I do agree, 6 grand is
Mm-hmm.
too much for that kayak in my mind. If it were five, I think four 999, that was probably the right price point for it. Um, adding that battery, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. Because I wouldn't want one in it. I'd just put a big Z Pro in it.
Yeah,
Nothing against Amped. I'd just rather have Z Pro because I trust them. But I think they should have given an option to not have a battery. That was probably a mistake in my mind, just marketing wise, just to get the cost lower. If they
yeah.
could have got it under 5 grand, I think they would have sold a lot more people.
Maybe they threw the battery in just to make an excuse to charge 6 grand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
maybe they worked out a deal with AMP to be like, hey, if we give you a bulk,
oh
if
yeah,
we do a bulk order,
oh yeah, they're making money for sure.
yeah.
If that battery is $800, they're buying them for four. They're buying them at wholesale and they're making money on that. But if
Mhm,
they wouldn't have made the money on the battery, if they wouldn't try to have gotten greedy and made money on that battery by buying at wholesale, they
mhm.
probably would have sold more kayaks because people could.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's a low entry to
yeah,
barrier into the
yeah. I
kayak
do.
community with the motor. That's
Yeah,
why I'm like, I was kind of disappointed because we want to encourage more people to get into the sport, not
yeah,
discourage them because of the high price tag.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then make them kind of excited to get a motor finally.
And
Because when I got a motor finally, I
yeah,
was just like, ooh, like I came from a 120 PDL too and a 106 PDL. And I started out with those kayaks. Those are great kayaks. And then I went to a motor and I'm like, oh, finally, yes. You
yeah.
know? Uh,
That is another thing that I like about that kayak is if you're a tournament kayak angler, you can
mhm.
buy a second drive, like just a regular PDL drive, and it will go in there. Whether
Will it?
that's yeah,
Really?
it will. You can't go from a PDL to an EPDL. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you can't buy a big water 132 and put an EPDL in it,
yeah.
but you can have an EPDL and put a regular drive in it.
Is
So
so Pua was gonna say, or Pua is saying, which is another kayak tournament angler in NorCal. If those guys that you guys don't know, he's in the chat. Like, are you expecting anything from Hobie to be innovative in the next coming years, or do you think there's a downfall?
no, I mean, I don't. If they do, it'll be another kayak in their lineup. I don't think it'll be messing with either the Al. What do I know? I don't know. I don't know anything. Um, I
You
don't think
signed
they.
an NDA. Are you with the Hobie team, by the way?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
No team.
Okay, cool.
Um, no, but I'm just saying that I think now the EPDL, I think it hasn't gotten a lot of, seems like all the thoughts on it are negative. But I think now Old Town has made a kayak that the rivals the pro angler whenever they didn't
Mhm.
before. That's that I guess that was my argument.
I
Isn't
mean, I do gotta
yeah
admit, yeah, your argument's right that the Old Town is definitely more of a tank compared to a PA-14.
yeah
PA-14 has a lot of issues with like water leaks and now warranty issues and
yeah
etc. for replacement holes. Old Town, when I owned one, like it never had any issues with water leaks at all. That thing was like
yeah
dry
yeah
unless I opened up the hatch during the day and rain got in it or something like that.
yeah
Um, it is a slow boat though. The autopilots.
oh
I'm
yeah
not sure about the new. They might have answered that with the EPDL, but it doesn't have spot lock. So I'm like,
yeah.
is it worth 6K without spot lock?
and
But
and and that's it too. It depends on how you fish. If that doesn't suit
yeah,
how you fish, it just personally suits how I fish
yeah,
because I have a pedal drive with a motor on the back, and that Old Town is pretty close to a
mhm.
pedal drive with a motor on the back.
Right.
It does the same thing.
Do you think Hobie's going to answer back and come out with a motorized kayak
No, but I
at
think their
all?
tournaments will probably eventually have to allow the Hobie tournaments will have to allow motors just because they're you can look at the amount of people that signed up for Bassmaster over Hobie this year. They're going to have to make they haven't had to make that change to allow motors, but
Hmm.
I think they will, soon.
I mean, that's just opening up the another part of the industry inside that. Hobie kind of allowing another part of the industry sponsor that circuit too, possibly.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
for sure.
hey, Turquito, like we need a kind
Mhm.
of a motor sponsor to help us on the trails. Like,
Yeah.
any of you guys want to help out?
Well, yeah,
Um,
and for keto, they make the Evolve motor to go to drop into the drive hole. So,
mhm,
I mean, they do have a kind of a partnership already. So it seems
yeah,
like it'd be a good fit.
kind of makes sense.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't recognize that drop. What are you talking about? So there was a drop in participation from Bassmaster versus BOS.
Yeah, Hobie has went down this year, and Bassmaster has went way up.
Oh
When it
wow.
was in the inverse the last couple of years,
Hmm.
Hobie
Yeah.
kept growing and was the premier. And now that Steve Owens has taken over Bassmaster, it's grown a lot quicker. I'm not sure about total numbers, but but Hobie has definitely went down at least a little bit this year, and
Oh, okay.
Bassmaster has went up for sure. So,
Wow.
yeah, I don't know where they're at total, but
What do you think?
I said that a couple of years ago too. I said on KBN that Bassmaster was where you wanted to be because it's just the amount of sponsorships that you could get whenever you win a tournament because everybody in fishing sees that. You're in Bassmaster magazine, which you may not think is a lot, but you just get so much more stroke off a Bassmaster win than you do a Hobie win that I always thought that Bassmaster was the place that somebody who's trying to be, trying to do something with this, trying to become a PKA or somebody who wants to be sponsored, that's a goal that that you wouldn't care as much about the payout. The real goal was to get sponsors.
Mhm.
So I personally always thought Bassmaster is where you would want to be long term if that was your goal.
We have Dozer for Shozer inside the chats. He's
Oh,
saying
really?
he's asking if like Hobie's going out of business. What do you
Oh
think
no,
about
they got bought by and this was like a year ago, so I'm not up on the latest news. They were bought by, I forget what they're called. What's Mitt Romney? They used to own. Um, I forget what that kind of company is called, where they take a company that's doing poorly, private equity. That's what it is. A private
that?
equity company bought Hobie and is trying to slim it down. They put, so from what I know, so don't take all this to the bank. They
Mhm.
moved a lot of their operations from California to Mexico, and maybe that's been a little bit of an issue because anytime you move
Mhm.
operations to a different country, even if it's right over the borders, you're going to have some kind of issues. But their warranties have been great, so I'm not. Please don't take this as me putting down Hobie because they make amazing kayaks. I mean, I have
Mhm.
one. It's fantastic. But yeah, I think there's definitely been some issues in the 360 drivers. Although they've fixed a lot of the things with it, there's been continued issues with it for sure.
All right. The next thing I wanted to get into, man, uh, is Spencer Sheffield speaking out. I haven't seen this video yet, so I don't know if we should watch it, but let's just give it a shot.
Let's watch it. And I got a question for you too.
What? What was your question?
You were doing on one of your most recent YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about how two of your favorite baits right now are a drop shot and a shaky head. Drop
Probably
shot,
drop shot. Probably drop shot is probably my most favorite
but
in
drop
the
shot,
earlier
shaky head,
summer.
Nico. I have a real hard time deciding which one and where. Do you have like a strong like set? Because there is a lot of overlap in those
Between
three
those three,
techniques. Yeah,
honestly, to be frankly honest with you, I feel like the Nico rig is. I never built confidence with it,
well,
and I just don't throw it enough. I've caught fish off of it, but after what I've learned with live scope and fish behavior, I guarantee you, like you drop a drop shot into the same spot where a fish lives and stuff, they're gonna nose down to it most of the time and eat it. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
just you finding the fish and you throwing it in there. I have nothing against a Nico rig. It's just that I had more success on a drop shot than an eco rig. And I'll go behind people. For instance, there's this guy named Shane. Like he'll be fishing a rock
Lamont.
pile. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be fishing a rock pile over at Lower Otai, and Lower Otai is super small, super small. It only has two main lake points, pretty much, right? And we're both fishing main lake point. He's throwing his Nico rig, deep water, blah, 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 and I see him soaking a bait, blah, blah. He takes off. I follow right up because it's just a main lake point with tons of rock. And I follow up. I go in his spot and I see a fish down live scope. I just drop down directly. I just release the bell and just right under my boat. Tunk, 17 incher. So like I could clean up with the drop shot behind people and people won't get bites off of the Nico rig. And I just clean house with it.
But I
It's
think
almost
some of that is
automatic.
I think you're getting some of the reaction bite though, because you said that you use a quarter to a 3/8.
Yeah.
Maybe because me in my head, I see Nico as kind of being like a deeper water wacky rig,
Mm-hmm.
where the fall rate is sometimes the fall rate's a big deal. Or if you want, let's say you're fishing a bluff wall a little bit deeper and you don't want to use a weighted wacky rig and you want to use a
Mhm.
Nico rig, like that might be a better situation because you're trying to catch fish that are suspended. But I think if you're fishing straight down or on a specific piece of cover, like an underwater piece of cover, and or you're getting a reaction strike of it going by them quick enough with that heavier weight, I think maybe sometimes that, a drop shot is going to be the correct choice. But and Nico rig, man, I've caught the heck out of them with a Nico rig too.
I think if I'm skipping under a dock, maybe I'll use an eco rig and
Really?
I needed to sink a little bit faster. I think that's when it can come down into play for me, or even I'll throw a weightless Cinco or something like that. But
No.
the suspended bass, that wouldn't be my first choice to go for a suspended bass. Currently, right now, what I have lined up, like right in front of me when I'm fishing, is a half ounce underspin, an eighth of an ounce Kitech 2.8, but the half ounce underspin I'll have like a 3.3, 3.8 tied onto it, but majority of the time 3.3. And then I'll have a Jackal Deriku
Like the
tailspin,
tailspin. Yeah.
and then I'll have a 6 cents deep diving jerkbait. I'll have four of those tied on. And first, I'll try the underspin because that's the fastest way to just cast at them, suspending. Because right now, the thermocline, I haven't put any videos out on this, but the thermocline is about like 12 feet for me right now.
Yeah.
So all the fish are just up. If you go on 50, 60 feet of water out in the middle of the lake, sure, it's a small little pond, but if you go out in the middle, they're all suspended above 12 feet. So all you need to do is target that 12-foot zone.
Yeah.
And so, like, every fish that I've been catching these past couple of weeks have been a half ounce underspin. So I'll go through that first. But if they're not even following it, or if there's not much competition for them to actually chase this underspin, because a lot of the times, if they don't have one, two, three, four of his buddies right next to him, he ain't
Mhm.
chasing anything that's swimming by his head,
Yeah.
unless I use that Jackal Deriku, not Jackal Deriku, the 6 cents jerk bait. If I cast out there and I go twitch, 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 and I'm not even pausing at all, that fish will react to it and eat it the faster I twitch it. And if he's by himself. But when I find there's like 3, 4, 5 fish together in a wolf pack, it doesn't take a lot for them to react to like a eighth ounce Kitech or half ounce underspin or something like that, or a Jackal Deriku
Yeah.
tailspin. But majority of the times, those are all my baits that I have tied on for a suspending fish. For worm fishing, I'm primarily just fishing on the bottom. You know what I mean? Like you said, that reaction on the bottom where they're about 2 feet hovering off the bottom or 3 feet. They're on a wood piling right next to a dock, and when you drop it down on them, they chase down for it, like at that wood piling, and
Yeah.
then they eat it. Right?
Why a 4.5 fat? Why not the 6.5 straight? Or that's the thing with robo worm. Like I never
Yeah.
know. It seems like all the variations are so small. I never know which one to go with.
I don't think it really matters,
Yeah. I
dude.
don't. Okay.
I think if you toss any of them, they'll eat it. As long
Yeah,
as you drag it past their face or it drops right on their head, they're
yeah.
gonna eat it. But I just had so much success with the 4.5 inch, and
Oh yeah.
sometimes not even the fat, sometimes the skinny, the original one.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
I had so much success
So
with
you
the
you
four and a
you
half
you carry
inch.
both?
Oh, I carry both all the time.
Really? Hmm.
Yeah, all the time. And whatever I run out of, sometimes I have no option. I'll just use a 6 inch, or if I don't have any 6 inches on board, I'll throw a 4.5 inch. I honestly don't think it matters, but I think you'll probably get bit more often on the 4.5 incher
Yeah.
than the
I don't
six
throw a
inch.
drop shot enough to have multiple size to be able to dedicate room in the kayak for multiple size worms just for drop shotting because
Yeah.
they're not, it's not a bait I'm going to use for any other, it doesn't overlap with other techniques.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have one drop shot rig tied up and everything together, but then I'll have multiple bags of different worms and stuff, four
Yeah.
and a half and 6 inch. Summertime, I'll throw a bigger worm. But if
Okay.
it's like post spawn, early spring or something like that, I'll throw a 4.5 inch over a 6 inch. I
Huh.
think for me,
So bigger in the
um,
summer, huh?
bigger in the summer. I think
All right.
maybe higher metabolism or something like that. They're more encouraged to eat something a little bit bigger. But that lake that I got, 115 inches, I think it was 115. 115. It was a 4.5 inch. You know, some of them were fat, some of them were the skinny worm, the skinny rubble worm. But you know, like just tells you, you know, a 4.5 incher can catch a 24
Yeah.
incher.
Yeah.
You
I
don't
mean,
need to throw that big old junk.
I caught 24 on a Okashira. I mean, on a, with a 3 inch
Yeah.
3 inch
Ex-
megabass spark shad. Yeah.
a 24 incher. You said 24?
Yeah.
And that's your biggest. Was that this year or when was that?
That was
Last year?
yeah, last no
Last year or
year,
2 years
year
ago?
before last I
Is
caught
that
that.
your biggest bass in the last 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, in a kayak, that's the biggest I've ever caught. I've never caught one over. I've caught like a bunch 23, 23 and a quarter,
Yeah.
3/4. That's the only 2 footer I've ever caught. I've caught bigger out of a boat, but not a kayak.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm like, dude, I don't believe in this
Yeah, I
big bait
don't.
stuff anymore.
I,
Like,
I will see. I'm weird the way I fish because I don't fish a lot of the middle stuff. I fish like big top waters and or bigger baits, and I finesse like
oh, okay. So
like
you're
people.
extreme.
Yeah, like I'm either in the grass throwing frogs or I'm throwing big top waters. And
Well, you're not a live scoper, are you?
I have one. Yeah.
But you haven't rigged it out, right? You haven't
No,
used
I
it?
have. Yeah, I
Oh, you
use it.
use it now?
It's
Oh, okay.
it's I would say yeah. I'm not a big live scoper, but I have one and I use it. I'm proficient with it.
I feel like I feel like as you don't if you're in a grass fishery, then it's
Yeah,
better off that you power fish.
yeah,
But at the same time, when the conditions are not playing out right, sometimes I look back at it and I wish I would have slowed down and just stick with live scope.
yeah.
Sometimes
I'm I'm I'm
that happened to me one time.
I really am thinking about selling my live scope and going to 360. Like to me,
Uh, it's not
the way
live though.
my mind works, yeah, but I like yeah, I
I
don't
see it. I don't know. I see it this way: is I look at the leaders in bass fishing and I see what they're winning with,
yeah,
and it's just a proven point.
yeah.
Like it's just proven that live scope is
I don't
helping these guys win it as a tool.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I think for the way I fish, it would help. Like I'm not going to have both on my kayak. Like I'm not Bailey Eichbrett.
No.
Like I just can't have that much crap on my kayak. I need it to be a little
Yeah.
bit more clean.
Yeah.
And to me, the way I fish, I think I could probably get. I've never used it, so I don't know. And it's a lot of money to invest having not used it. But I think I would. It would probably benefit my fishing more to have a 360 than it would a live scoop.
I think so. I
Yeah,
think so too. I mean, if you're winning right now
yeah.
and you're winning without live scope,
Well,
then
I use it. Let's say one out of every 20 fish I catch was with a live scope. Like it's
how
not
how many tournaments have you won this year? Or top 3? Top 2, top 3.
10.
10? Okay, you top 3, 10, you won. I mean, I think top 3 is already winning. So let's just say 10 wins, right?
Yeah,
How many times of those times live scope played a key role?
0.
There you go. That's your answer. I would just get
Well,
rid of it and I would pick up like you said 360, try that out for a little bit and stuff.
yeah, I don't know if there's ever been one fish in a tournament that I couldn't have upgraded not using a live scope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would get rid of it if that's not helping you. It also depends like where you're fishing too.
yeah,
It just helped me so much, and that's why I'm using it. Pooh in the chat saying I know exactly what you're saying, and he wants Mega 360 for the win.
Yeah.
Um,
I think some people are really good at this, like spatial relations, and to me, seeing it like whenever I look at a 360, I go to Bass Pro and I play with it, and I can
mhm,
actually see where everything lines up, and I can see the. And I know you can do this with a live scope too, like that. 70 feet. If you're throwing 60 feet, I'm
mhm,
going to cast that fish, but being able to see it in relation to my kayak and exactly which way it is,
mhm.
not just the fish, but the structure and everything else. It just makes a little bit more sense. I think that's kind of it. Like, it's not that live scope isn't beneficial. I totally get it. My buddy Chuck kills with it
Mhm.
that I fish against and, with. But to me, in my mind, looking at 360 just works in my brain. Like, I get it. Nah, I can't have both. I'm not putting
Yeah.
both on my kayak. So.
Yeah. Huh.
And I really like the
Yeah.
one objective mount that they have for it, where it's super
Oh,
simple.
okay.
You just, I'm not sitting there fiddling with it and moving it. It's just down and done. I really like that. So I don't know.
Honestly, when I go up NorCal, I don't use live scope as much. And I don't know if it's any different than SoCal, but over in SoCal, I can use live scope and it works to my favor. But
Yeah,
whenever I go up to NorCal, like I don't see the same things. And another thing is that if you have multiple species inside your lake, sometimes it's just you just want to turn it off because you're
yeah,
just seeing too much stuff. You're seeing crappie, you're seeing big crappie that look like bass on live scope. A lot of people claim that, oh, I can tell the difference between crappie and a bass on live scope. But once you get those 2 pound crappie or 3 pound crappie in your lake, it's very hard to decipher if that was a bass
yeah.
or a crappie. And if you got tons of those 2 or 3 pound crappie in your lake, then you got a problem because you're wasting all these time casting to these crappie. I caught like 7 or 8 crappie in a tournament that were all like close to 2 to 3 pounds,
Wow.
that I thought were bass, and I only caught one bass the whole entire day, and that was when I wasn't even really using live scope. I was shallow water fishing near brush piles and stuff, and I caught
And
one bass.
that they're
But
so flat. They show up so good.
oh, they show
Great
up. They
return.
show
Yeah.
up. Yeah, great return.
And
Seven crappie, man, over probably at 2 pounds.
yeah, I think that kind of goes back to how I fish and like the winning kind. Like I know, I think I've gotten to the point where I know when I'm fishing best and the way that I fish the best. And for me, it's being more efficient, quicker decisions, and that is opposite of what live scope is. Not that in
Yeah,
some I'm
yeah,
sure if I get out there, sometimes going to be like, oh, I wish I had a live scope for like exactly this situation. But I think apples to apples, I think the 360 would work better for me.
in all honesty, I think for you, I think it's absolute truth, and you
Yeah,
make me think about that. If the bite's really good without live scope, I rather keep the live scope off so I can make more casts and I can make a decision faster.
yeah,
But if the bite really does suck and there's no top water bite,
yeah,
there's there's no spinner bait, no chatterbait bite or something like that, and there's only a finesse bite and it's tough for the whole entire field,
yeah.
I probably in that case I would
I,
probably want live scope on.
I totally agree. Like you can see whenever, like there was uh, a YouTube not too long ago was Greg Blanchard and he's fishing with Damien and
Uh-huh.
they were fishing. Damien just like
Yep.
picked up those one or two extra fish that sometimes are just absolutely everything in a tournament.
Mhm.
And you know, and those are at times when you're really going to want that live scope. But I think day
Yeah.
in day out, it's a trade off. I
Mhm.
think day in day out at 360, although more expensive and it would be
I mean,
difficult to
you might
locate.
not even need 360 either. Like you might even complicate it with 360 because you're actually waiting for that thing to complete a full 360 for
Yeah.
it to give you a nice image, of what's around you and stuff. So, I mean, if you zone it down, like if you're talking about Pua and Greg Blanchard up in NorCal right now, they have no live scope, they have no 360, and
Yeah.
right now they're the top 3 in AOY
Greg with
for
the
a circuit up there.
Ray Marine. I had a Ray Marine.
Yeah.
Man. That thing's trash. I hated that damn
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I mean, dude. If you have trashy electronics, I'm not saying Ray Marie's trashy, but
It's
you said
trash.
it.
I'll
And
say
Pua
it.
has a hummingbird, but hummingbird's pretty damn good in my
Yeah,
opinion.
oh yeah.
Um,
They have the best mapping. That's another
yeah,
reason I kind of like. I would rather have one big screen than
dude, do
two.
it,
Yeah.
do it.
Like
That-
I absolutely love the mapping on Humminbird. It's no one's if you've used them, there's no doubt. And you can even get the app on your phone, like to have the Humminbird maps. They're the best
okay,
out there. Huh? Oh yeah.
can you have the hummingbird mapping on your phone?
Oh yeah.
So I don't even have to buy a graph.
Nope.
That's what I need. That's what I'm gonna do now. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
but
have like
each
a
map
phone
is like
holder.
$20 for each lake.
Oh, so you can only download per map.
That's how I've done it. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
It's
But
been a
it's
while
20
since I've done
bucks.
it.
It's not
Yeah.
that bad though. And you get it lifetime, that map for 20 bucks.
I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. I
Um,
have a Garmin now. Like I want to go back to Humminbird.
you have a Garmin 93
Yeah.
SV
Mhm.
UHD.
Yeah.
Okay.
With
I
a
don't know, man.
54. Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go deeper and deeper into the live scope and the Garmin interface. I think I'm gonna go the 8612 eventually.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually I'm gonna go there because it's a 1080 screen and you just can't get much crisper than that.
Yeah.
And after that, there is no excuses for me. I think if I can't compete with the 8612, which is probably like $3,000 to $4,000,
Yeah.
like
And we'll see.
I better sell everything.
And we'll see what kind of batteries Z Pro might be coming out with.
Oh, Z Pro might
What?
come out with that.
What? I didn't say
Oh,
anything.
I'm pretty interested in that one.
Yeah.
That they're coming out with.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
might actually produce a crisper image too.
Yeah. So
Well,
watch out for what Z Pro's got coming.
oh yeah, Z
Y'all
Pro's
gonna
coming
like
out
it.
with the juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get rid of that 12-volt stuff. All right, man. I think that closes the chapter. We're gonna watch
Cheater.
that disqualification over at the MLF over that Cayuga, but let's leave that at another podcast episode
I
because
love that name.
need a
Cayuga.
piss. I do like Cayuga, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Is Cayuga just another Clear Lake? It seems like it.
No, it's no.
No, not like Clear Lake as in Vision, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
like
Clear
the
Lake.
Bass
Yeah.
Factory Clear Lake.
Yeah. I think that is their well, they have a candle. Not it's not in New York. I think it's in New Hampshire. It's candlewick, candlestick, something like that. Like that one's I think that one's like their best largemouth spot, But yeah,
It's called
Cayuga
Candle.
for sure. Yeah.
Candle what?
Candlewick, candlestick, something like that.
Candlestick over in New York,
New Hampshire. It's
New
like right
Hampshire.
over the border, I think. I don't know.
Pua is saying he has a new way of getting getting all maps for free. What is that new
Yeah,
way?
hook me up, man.
I know. Hook us up, Pua. We got to get Pua and you on the podcast next. Let's try that. Let's try that next week or something, or in a couple weeks.
Yeah, man.
We'll just talk crap and we'll go dive deep into like the disqualifications and all the cheaters in the world.
Cheaters.
Wait, do you know Mike Long, by the way?
I know who he is. Yeah.
Did you know that he got hired for? I think this is fact. It could be rumor, but supposedly he works for the DFG, the Department of Fishing game, over in Cuyamaca, over in SoCal, like San Diego area and stuff. Isn't that interesting how he could still get into like the Department of Fish and Game after all that he did in news and everything?
Somebody that messed up going into government work. It sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. It was good having you on. We're gonna have to chat again, dude.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sounds good.